Indiana Jones, Indiana Jones, Indiana Jones. It's a podcast about Indiana Jones. Every movie, 1 minute at a time. The Indiana Jones Minute.
Hi, guys.
Hey,
how's it going?
Oh, it's going well. Thank you for asking. How are you doing?
Lovely. Yes, no, I'm splendid.
Yeah.
All things considered.
It's tea time with the Indiana Jones Minute, fellas.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us, everybody. This is Anything Goes, where we are going to talk to you more about Star Wars from 1977. It's such a good movie. Do you guys like doing a movie in this detail that you love, that you just love and you know so well and you just love it?
I do. I didn't think I would, but I do.
It's kind of like Raiders of the Lost Ark. Remember
I thought it'd be
movie?
weird. Yeah.
You both thought it was going to be weird, and I was like, "Come on, who cares? We'll just talk about Star Wars. We do it anyway."
No, I'm gonna go out and say it is a little tough. It is a little tough for me because when you're looking at things like, are the droids, sort of bound to their masters?
Oh
that
yeah,
type of
you
stuff.
figure out new stuff.
You figure out stuff, and it's like it's a little hard. Or when you see things that don't align, or it weirds me out a little bit.
All right.
I'm not saying I'm not enjoying it. I
No.
have a great time.
I like talking about Star Wars.
I do too. I love
right.
talking about Star Wars.
All I wanted to say.
Yeah, I love
You
it.
made it weird. Of course, before we talk about Star Wars, we get to thank you, beautiful people, for supporting us here on, not here on Patreon, because some of you are hearing this for free because we're so super nice. I hope you're enjoying this as we're giving these away out into the world for during the crazy COVID times when everything's strange. It feels good to do that, and I hope it's a nice thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are people who support us over there. And those people are named the following. People like 21 Beckett.
Hey.
We love to. 21 Beckett is very kind and wrote me some nice feedback on a story that I put up on my other Patreon over at I Am
Nice.
Tom Taylor. Yeah, that was nice.
Oh,
I
I'm
like
loving
getting feedback.
I'm loving. I get Tom does something that I'm really, really, really bad at on our Patreon, which is writing postcards. And I signed up for Tom's postcards, and he'll write you a short story every month, and I love getting his short stories.
They're really good.
Thanks, Pete.
Yeah, it's true. You're good. You're really good at postcards.
Thanks, mister. Thanks to two of yous. We also want to thank Andrew with 2 A's and Temba, their arms open.
Did we lose Mr. Fred?
We did.
Oh,
I didn't want to tell you guys because it was going to break your heart. We lost Mr.
It
Fred.
does, Brad. I love Mr. Fred.
But you know what? People come, people go. There's a little surprise later on in the list. I
understand people might want to leave or have to leave, and that's all great.
Yeah.
But I like having
We're
him
happy
around.
to see you when we see you.
Yeah. Well, we'll just say we didn't
about Mr. Fred.
lose Mr. Fred. We're speaking to him now. Should he choose to listen because it's free?
Right.
That's
Mr. Fred, you made Pete cry. Now how do you feel?
During Star Wars. Imagine that, Mr. Fred.
He just wants to talk to you about Star Wars, and you break his heart.
No, we appreciate it all.
We do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Andrew with 2 A's and Temba, their arms open. Star Trek: The Next Generation, beautiful episode. You guys don't get it. We also want to thank Airport. Says make next year the best year. Sign up for the MXM Group Project September 5th. That's our buddy Jim O'Kane. He's got mad plans for the next.
You know what? The thing is,
MXM
I don't think you have to do anything to make next year the best year. 2020's kind of jive.
Right. It's kind of a no-brainer. It's just gonna by default. It's gonna be.
But
awesomer.
You're much more optimistic than I.
Well,
I know that's the thing.
Yeah.
I will say, regardless or irregardless,
that's a word now.
Apparently,
they made that a word.
They made
so many
that
people
a
have been using
word,
it that they turned it into a word.
Just gave up.
Yep.
Which
Wow.
our good friend Doug Howard used to always say about irregardless, not without regard. He's like that's and I still could never follow it. It was like Mobius strip.
Well,
Like Escher
Um,
stares.
we also want to thank Black Lives Matter,
Yes.
Woo.
of course. We also want to thank Brady and Brent from the planet farthest, not furthest, from the bright center of the universe.
Oh wow!
Nice.
You know the rule?
I do know
Yeah,
the rule.
Tommy does.
I do too.
I do. That's
Yeah.
one of the easier ones. If you
Yeah,
just
it
if you
is.
have it explained to you, it's pretty easy.
Do it
Yeah.
again. Do it again.
Farthest is right, not furthest. Yeah, far is
Farthest
is
is
like a
physical
physical
distance.
measure of distance. Yeah. And furthest,
Furthest
is
anything else.
Yeah.
So wait, say that
More
again.
metaphorical.
Farthest is a measure of distance, and
You can
furthest.
take out a
physical
tape
measure of
measure
this
and
distance.
measure how far something is.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you can't.
So is that like the one where is it less? What's the one that if it's something that's
Fewer and
countable,
less?
it's less?
Yeah, fewer and less. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it the same type of thing?
If you have fewer glasses of water, then you have less water. I just made that up.
You can't have less glasses of water though.
No,
Right.
right. Yeah.
Or you technically, even though supermarkets do, you can't have 12 items or less.
Right.
Oh, that's right. 12 items
Although-
or fewer.
Yeah.
I think you can if 12 items is one collective noun.
Oh, but is it though?
Could it be
items.
used
You mean
as
like if
such?
you went to like you go to like a place like Trader Joe's that has like creative names, and like you went
Yeah.
to the
Oh.
salad part, and they had like a particular salad called 12 items.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or what if
Yeah.
what if the sign said one shopping cart full of 12 items or less?
Yeah, see, you could do that.
Okay.
No, that would be fewer.
No. Damn it. Stupid grocery stores.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks a lot, Brent. See what you did? We want to thank Brian and Brian, who both just keep it simple with their names. They don't cause us to think about stuff, and we appreciate that. We also want to thank Carson for the same reasons. And Chewy as a barrow in the marketplace. Mala is the singer in a band. And we want to thank Chris Go Indiana Jones Minute.
Yay.
Hooray. We also want to thank Klaus and COVID Blows. You'll get
Wait, who is
argument from us. You know what sucks? Patreon changed their thing, so now I have to download the thing as like a spreadsheet, and I just like put the names in alphabetical order, but I didn't grab the whole thing. So now the names don't line up with the I think that's Steve. I think that's our buddy
Yeah,
Steve
I was going to
Crouch.
guess. I bet it's
Okay,
Steve.
yeah.
It sounds
Yeah.
like Steve.
Yeah.
Well, whoever it is, they get
That
it.
sounds like that Steve
Yeah.
who hates
That
COVID.
rakish sense of humor sounds like Steve.
Yeah. You're coming through loud and clear, Steve. We agree with you. We also want to thank Cubs fan and Dan, and Darth Patreonis asks, what is good about Star Wars that Abrams and Johnson didn't understand? Now, I think that question is a little bit flawed in the way it is formed, because I think Rian Johnson has proven that he has a deep, meaningful, and true understanding of Star Wars that Abrams will never have. You don't agree?
Well, no, I think he had a better understanding, perhaps, in some ways. But to me, I think what neither of them understood, and what perhaps Mr. Lucas started to misunderstand after the original trilogy, was the use of space that I'm noticing so much in Star Wars. Like, it's just so open.
Yeah.
and
You mean
like
space is like something you
Like
mean
like quiet
the-
in space. Like it's
Yeah.
not racing through plot point after plot point after plot point.
Yeah, I'm
Right.
gonna copy and paste that. That's
You know,
that's a very, very good point. And what sucks, I hate when people say, even though I understand it may be true, people say, well, you could never make a movie like Star Wars today. And you're kind of like, is that true?
That's kind of true. I mean, I don't think you can make a space adventure movie like Star Wars today, but you
Does
can make
everything
other
need to be
movies
like-
that take people by storm and they don't
Boo, boo,
understand
boo.
it, what they're seeing, and they can't believe how awesome it is. That's like a
I
totally
think
different
you can have
genre
a
or
movie
something.
like I'm thinking about. Did you guys see Parasite?
No, I haven't seen it
No,
yet.
I
Oh,
want to see that.
that's
Though.
But
great.
that's
But
what I
that'll-
mean. Like that's like that's a movie. Like I still haven't seen it, so I don't know what I'm talking about. But that's a movie that people weren't expecting and did something new apparently,
Mhm.
and kind of shook things up
And it also had
cinematically.
very like it didn't have super fast pacing.
Yeah, yeah, I believe it.
I
I
don't.
do think the one thing that Abrams the sequel trilogy, one thing that it did not learn from the original trilogy is showing me something new. There was like very little new in the like it was so much of it was, hey, remember that thing from Star Wars? Remember that thing was sort of like Star Wars?
Yeah.
We know that this will tickle your Star Wars gland if we
Yeah.
do this.
Yeah.
So we'll do a lot of this. Yeah.
I will say though, one thing that they both got right was visually. I feel like they really nailed the Star Wars look.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I think they handled that well.
Like I felt
you know
like
what? I also have
looked
to,
like Star Wars.
yeah.
It didn't
But
always
I do want
feel
to
like
partially
Star Wars, but it
retract one
looked.
thing that I just said. Like, I think that in Last Jedi, I think that had a new and deeper take on the Force and everything that we hadn't gotten to in the original trilogy yet, and was great.
See, to me, it sort of did, but the one that did much more than that was Rogue One.
Oh, sure. That was fun.
Yeah.
That movie's not mentioned in this question, and maybe that's telling.
Yeah.
That
It's
yes, it
weird
was
how
slavishly
controversial that
Star
was.
Wars, but it was like a different kind of Star Wars that we didn't have
Yeah.
before.
But to me,
Yeah.
that's the only one I rank up with the trilogy, like the original
Mhm.
trilogy. I don't any of the others. I don't think.
I adore Last Jedi.
I
Can
know
we
you
redo
do.
our Last Jedi episode? Because now I love it.
Oh yeah, you hated Last Jedi when
I
we
did.
it. That's
I had a lot of
awesome.
problems
I love
with it.
that.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything about any of these movies. I mean, other than the trilogy, I don't know why that is, but it's true. I saw them
Yeah.
all. I even saw The Force Awakens, I think 4 times.
hmm
For some
Yeah.
reason, it's just a block.
I feel like the plots of the newer movies aren't quite as hero's journey as the original. Like the original had a very clear through line.
Yeah,
Like
it's
Luke had
true.
his journey that he was going to make, and the movies were anchored around that. And I don't feel like that existed in the new ones. You know, like
You know what? Absolutely.
Ray had a very muddy line, and
Yeah.
it just
There's something I can't.
They have like too many characters in the new one.
Yeah, and I can't fully get behind them, even though I like who's John Boyega's character? I can't remember.
Finn.
Finn.
yeah.
Like, I
Finn the
like
human.
him, but I for some reason have to like wake myself up to kind of get behind the characters and their arcs and their stories, and I find myself pushing a little bit. And
Mhm.
it's definitely true with Poe. I
Yeah.
just don't understand Poe.
Yeah. Poe probably. I like Poe, but he should have stayed dead, I think, in the first
I
one.
love Ray, and that's
Yeah.
great.
No, I
And
do too. But
I just have a hard. I don't know what it is. Maybe that's why it's.
I
I
feel
don't
like
even
you
have an
can-
answer to Darth Patreon's question. That's why I had to cheat off Pete.
You know
but
what?
I also
Oh.
feel like someone could say, "What's the story of Star Wars?" And he say, "Oh, a farm boy tries to find, he tries to save the princess and whatever, save the galaxy." You try to give an answer for the new ones,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
hard. Like it's hard to sit down and come up with an answer. What's this
Yeah.
about? Oh, here's my one sentence answer.
Girl lives in the desert and she tries to find out how much like Luke Skywalker she is, or something.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
could, for the life of me, I would fail that exam.
Yeah.
If it was like
Yeah.
a short answer or an essay, I could not tell you.
I have these debates with my son all the time about like the various qualities and failings of the different trilogies and everything. And I'm like, Sam, at the end of the day, you know what I really like? You know what's really Star Wars to me? Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, Chewbacca, those people running around on a Death Star, running around on Dagobah, that group of people having their story told over 3 movies. That's my Star Wars, and that's what Star Wars is to me.
Or maybe running around on Kazook.
Sure,
Oh my
yeah,
God,
in between commercials for whatever.
Well, you get a Boba Fett cartoon and some musical entertainment.
That is a great thing. How did that become a great thing? It just is. I feel like I had something else to say about Star Wars, but I guess we'll wait until we start talking about Star Wars. We also want to thank Dave and Death Star. We're gonna die right now.
I love that.
And we want to thank Guy wearing headphones, and we want to thank Doris and Doug and Eric and Fables of Falbus.
Oh, yeah.
And Father David. Hey, Father David.
Hey, Father
And, we want to thank, given your Star Wars coverage, do you think Star Wars Minute has any reason for alarm? No, Bert.
No.
No, we don't. No.
Nope.
Those guys are great.
Have you listened to our Star Wars coverage, Bert?
Those guys put Star Wars on the map.
They did.
Yeah.
We're just doing
We're
it
the J.J. Abrams of Star Wars Minute.
Oh, Pete, that hurt.
Yeah.
That was awful.
Come on. Let's
How
be
dare
something in
you.
the middle. Something in
Come
the middle.
We want to thank Hillary. And we want to thank Indy 5, Indiana Jones, and the stuff that dreams are made of.
Wow.
Wow. It's not bad.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man. What if you had a lucid dreaming, like everything took place in a dream world kind of thing? Like,
oh. And he's in the Maltese Falcon or something? I'd see that. We also want to thank it's Jonathan and Jasmine and Jay from Deep Blue Sea, the podcast.
yeah.
Hey, Jay.
Nice.
We want to thank John Engel, who I might see tomorrow in person.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow.
Pete, I'm going to give him a big fat hug.
Don't.
And I'm going to
do
breathe
that.
in his face. I'm going to breathe
Do
in his
not
son's face.
do
It's going to
any
be
of those
great.
things,
All
but
right,
please
I'm not.
give him my love and
I will.
do so by not breathing on him.
We're going to be very safe, very smart, and very distant.
And
Pass the
then
salt.
You're going to fight about the Who or something.
Yeah. Or fight about me misrepresenting his opinions about the Who. That's what we'll fight about. Apparently I got it all wrong. We also want to thank John and Joshua, Inexorable Tash, and Ken and Kevin and Lori and Mark meeting you with a view to a kill. He's a new guy who you'll find out about later.
Yes.
We also want to thank Matt and Matthew and Michael and mighty boss Nastones.
That's awesome.
That's hilarious.
That's funny. We also want to thank Mom, Teremi, and Drew, and Natalie, and Natsuki Best Doki. And Neil says, More Than This by Roxy Music. Discuss. What's there
So
to
Neil
discuss?
has a little story to go along with this.
Oh, really?
So yeah, Neil says his first job after university was working in a gym, and there was this really cute girl who used to work there. And so I'm reading what he says. He says, I chatted to her a few times and thought she kind of liked me. There was definitely some chemistry. I was chatting to one of the other trainers one time who had been there a while and who knew her. And he said, oh, but I think she has a boyfriend, some old guy. I was like, oh, really? Like how old? And he said he was really old, in his 60s or something. She was 30 max. So I was like, I can probably steal her away from this old guy. Anyway, a bit more flirting later. And as I was outside the gym one time, I saw her coming out and there was a guy waiting for her old guy. She gave him a hug. And when they walked towards me, I saw him. It was Brian Ferry.
Oh, my God.
So I thought, okay, maybe this time I have to let this one go.
That's
Despite
amazing.
that, I think More Than This is the perfect 80s song.
I mean, I'm not going to argue with that. That's kind of the perfect 80s song.
It is kind of the perfect 80s song. Yeah.
And it's lovely. And Bill Murray sang it in that movie.
Yeah.
That's an excellent story with a sad ending. But there's nothing to discuss. It's a great song.
I feel like I just...
Wait, I've got a stupid
Roxy
question.
Music,
I thought that was Brian Ferry in Roxy Music?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He did his own stuff,
I never
and
knew
then he was also like his first using Roxy Music, right? I'm acting I totally know, but I only
not a lot
know
about rock and roll, so I realize that might have been a dumb question.
They've got a really good song called Virginia Plain. Look it up. It's really great.
You know, they're one of those bands that has like a ton of albums, and I agree with Neil. That is a totally 80s band, 80s sound through and through. For some reason, I know next to nothing about them.
Yeah.
But it's only, I mean, I feel like I'm the exception. You know what I mean? Most people, certainly if you're familiar with a lot of that music and 80s and grew up then, I mean, you know a lot more about Roxy. I feel like I was just about to meet them and I got distracted. And then again, like 6 months later, I'm just about to meet Roxy Music and then I got pulled away or something. For some reason, I never fully encountered.
I probably know as much as you do. I like to only just know the songs that you know, that you hear.
Yeah.
It's not like I have a collection of their stuff or anything.
They were a little early for us too, right? Well, you guys are a little older than
a little bit. Yeah.
They were a little early. I think.
If you know what? Yeah, both you guys are the oldest.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean?
So I'm the youngest. So I had 2 older sisters. So that sort of
we're the oldest of our siblings.
Yes, in your
I think the 3 of us. Yeah.
So if you grew up with older siblings, the music kind of gets funneled down. When you're in like 2nd grade or 3rd grade, it's like your sister who's in 6th or 8th grade. They're already either going to concerts, MTV's on nonstop. They already have a crush on Gordon Sumner and the whole thing. So it's just kind of like you're. I feel like that you're exposed to it. If you have older siblings, you're exposed.
You know what's
to that
weird
whole
though?
Music thing.
I'm like the older brother to my younger sister. That works out somehow. That works, right? Yeah. And I don't think I passed any music on down to her. I don't think we just were not into the same stuff. But she passed up to me a couple of things. Like she was cooler than I was, like both in school and in musical taste in some ways. Like she was into like the Violent Femmes before I knew what they were. Really? And like Yaz. She had a Yaz tape that I thought was super cool. And she had a couple of those. So I'll give her props.
See, I didn't have anybody but like my mom to pass stuff along. So it was all like the Carpenters or Up With People or
Free to Be You and Me.
My mom gave me the Kingston Trio, and I saw them live with my mom about 20 years ago. I mean, they kind of had several different iterations of the group and whatever. Like one of the dudes was the original or knew the original member. I mean, they were phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. The show was incredible.
Cool. Moving on, we want to thank Nicholas. We want to thank None But Unbelievable. And we want to thank Orange Bee Cooper and Patrick and Pella. And Pete, we lost Mr. Fred, but now we got back Pork Snorter House. Welcome back, Pork Snorter House.
Hey.
Been away too long. We missed you.
Yay. Thank you.
We also want... Jerry, I have a question for you.
Yes.
What did the elephant say to the naked man?
No. You got to be something about a trunk.
Giant ears.
Right, hang on.
Peanuts. Why isn't the answer something about peanuts? Why am I the only one
trying
who
to
understands
imagine
humor?
something about wrinkly skin.
Ugh. God. Trumpets.
What is it? What is
it? It's cute, but how do you breathe through that thing? By the way, an elephant said that to a naked man? That's baloney. Elephants don't talk.
Elephants are very smart.
They are.
Sean Sherman's kind of the Bob Carlin. Jim Carlin? Steve Carlin?
You messed me up. George Carlin.
George Carlin.
Yeah. Skip Carlin.
Of podcasting.
Sean the Jokeman. We want to thank Ralph Staphylococcus. Staphylococcus.
Staphylococcus. Yeah.
Yeah. We also want to thank RuneBot, Techno Union Rep, and Sagacious Crumb, and Sasha, and Scott Roseanne, and
Hey.
Sean, and C3PO is wearing a crop top. Change my mind. That's from our friend Jasmine.
I don't want to change your mind, Jasmine. That's absolutely true.
I think it's his little wiry belly is showing.
Yeah.
It's cute.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Wiry belly.
You were going to say something though, Pete.
I did want to say condolences to Scott. I believe he lost his father-in-law this week.
No.
And his father-in-law, I think, came up quite a bit on a recording we did. And
that is
I
true.
really admired him as well. So I wanted to send our sympathies.
I missed that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Scott. But we also want to thank Steve and Stina and Sully Baseball. Hey, you just heard us this week on Boulder a Minute with Sully. And if you didn't, you should go check it out. We had fun.
We turned into Star Trek Minute a bit for you.
Sure.
V'ger Minute.
V'ger Minute. Yeah. It's not hard. Most things turn into V'ger Minute with me.
Crash and nuke.
Yep. Lots of food sex.
Yeah. Lots of milk all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
It's just disgusting. One of the grossest movies I've ever seen. We also want to thank, what movie franchise ended at the perfect number before it went bad with overuse? That's our friend from Lando Enchantment. We've already answered that one, but I don't have anything to add, I don't think. Maybe James Bond. There's this 30 million James Bond movies, and they're all fantastic.
Yeah.
That's not true. That's an exaggeration. We want to thank Tears for Fears and the Carlyles.
Wait, hang on. We blow over
What?
Tears for V all the time. I love that name.
It's really good.
Yeah, it's really, really good.
You guys made fun of me for naming my favorite Tears for Fears song being, I forget what it was. Head Over Heels. The chorus of Head Over Heels is dumb, but the verses are enjoyable, I think.
Oh,
I feel like that was a you guys.
Right,
I feel that was a you, Jerry.
Boo, 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 boo. Yeah,
oh, maybe.
Head over heels, but it's really herky jerky.
Wait, what?
Are you talking about the Go-Go's tune?
No.
Oh.
You got mixed up by the Carlyles, who are next. You're thinking of Belinda Carlisle. I like Head Over Heels by the Go-Go's. What were you saying about that?
Now that's the best part of the song. They have that little
and the airplane
interlude.
goes by. She's playing the drums in front of the airplane.
That's a great little minute right there.
Yeah. By the way, speaking of new Patreon, Mark, you saw that I guess we had one very music-heavy episode on here, and we named a bunch of bands and a bunch of music, and he made a Spotify playlist with everything that we had mentioned.
That was amazing.
And it's like tons of jazz stuff from you guys, and like the Cars and Neil Young from me and Devo and Rush and everything, and very impressive. So now he has to go put Head Over Heels by both the Go-Go's and Tears for Fears. Thank you, Mark. Get on that.
Apparently I'm also required to listen to a bunch of Rush now.
Yeah, see? You listen to some Rush. I'll listen to some of that other cockamamie stuff I haven't heard on there that you guys love so much. It's probably great. I just haven't exposed myself to it yet. Like a naked man and an elephant.
Yeah, like
we also want to thank the Carlyles, as we said, and the Wilder Ride.
Hey.
We want to thank the Sac News and Tierney, aka One Steel Sister. And we also want to thank...
She shouldn't be writing it. I know what that means. She wrote.
I was wondering that. Yeah, maybe she wrote. She doesn't need to be writing anymore. She done it. Good for her.
Yeah.
We also want to thank Tim and Timmy Bricks, period.
Hey.
Yay.
And Tom and Trinko is just so tired of all these Star Wars. And we want to thank Vibrant Visionaries with Heidi Bennett and Wendy. And when y'all nugless, I scratch my Pete. And we want to thank Zaction, and last but not least, we want to thank Hilly21 Johnson, whose birthday would have been tomorrow as we record this, or yesterday as it airs. So happy birthday, Hilly.
Happy birthday, Hilly.
The last Star Wars movie she saw was The Phantom Menace. That's a kick in the head. That's a note to end on.
Boy.
Oh well. But yes, now everybody set
Oh,
your oh well. Everybody, let's get out of this. Set your time circuits for 1977. Set your nerd odometers to full, and we are headed back in time to a galaxy far, far away called the 70s to talk about Star Wars the motion picture.
We may be teleporting ourselves back in time.
Oh God. Wait, they don't do that in Star Wars, Pete.
Or do they?
Ah! Hey guys, it turns out that these droids are named C-3PO and R2-D2, and this farm boy is Luke.
Ah.
Yeah, in this scene we got all three of their names for the first time, I think.
That's interesting.
Well, I guess Baru called for Luke before, but we didn't know who these. We spent 20 minutes with these two droids. We never knew their names until now.
Wait, Pete, can you do Aunt Baru mimicry?
Luke.
You got it.
That was good.
Luke.
Yeah. You know what's amazing? I think on the story record that I memorized, I think it's backwards. I think it's
really?
Luke.
Really?
Yeah.
That's really weird.
Somebody check that out for me. Yeah.
Talking about names too. What did you make of the fact that, like, when we were kids, R2D2 was written out in letters and C3PO was written in numbers? Although sometimes C3PO was written in letters, but
they were both. Yeah. It was like C3PO and then like in parentheses C3PO, like spelled out.
And R2 is like ARTOO.
Yeah.
If we talk about how long it takes for Star Wars to happen, is it like 36 hours?
Maybe.
The reason I'm wondering is because like somewhere in that weekend, we get, Luke is cozy enough to call him Threepio.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And Luke tells him, like, from the beginning, like, oh, just call me Luke. And I don't think Threepio ever just calls him Luke from that point on.
Yeah.
Like, it's always Master Luke, or, he calls him Sir Luke right here for a second.
Does he ever call anybody by his or her first name?
No.
Well, R2.
R2, I guess.
Yeah.
And before I get letters, I do know that 3PO says R2-D2, where are you, at the beginning of the movie. But we haven't heard 3PO's name until now.
He does say, Chewbacca can fix it.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay. And he says, that Lando seems like a nice guy. I trust him.
Well, talking about sort of strange, sped up time phenomenon. It's interesting because C-3PO asks if there's anything he can do to help, and Luke says, not unless you can alter time, speed up the harvest, or teleport me off this rock.
Mm-hmm.
And my question
it's all very Star Trek.
Yeah, does teleportation exist in the Star Wars universe?
That's a really good question, Pete.
Yeah.
Because I want to say no.
But 3PO says, I'm not very knowledgeable about such things, not on this planet anyways.
Yeah, that's pretty awkward.
Yeah.
That's weird because, like, I want to say absolutely 100% no, there's no such thing as teleportation.
Or time travel.
Or time travel. But you know what's awesome is Luke is such a nerd, and maybe science fiction still exists in a science fiction universe. And so he just, he reads some like books by, I don't know, Ray Gunn Bradbury. I don't know. So he's like into like ideas of teleportation and space and time travel.
Well, all of those, like, you can't speed up the harvest, right?
No, we try.
Well, I don't know.
So you probably can't alter time,
right?
And you can't, you can't teleport. Then I would assume that.
Well, C-3PO says not on this planet.
Right. Yeah. Maybe while he's in hyperspace, he can do those things.
I was gonna say, if you're in hyperspace, does that
the rules
change
are all different.
time? Yeah.
Well, it would have to alter time because you would be, it would be relativity. You would be going
right.
Yeah.
At
I don't want to
speeds.
remotely go down that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too many threads to pick
because
up.
it's impossible for all these planets to be far apart, or else everybody would age in really bizarre ways.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Pete, when you were 17 years old, what was your favorite Rum-Rum car to play with? We get that scene where Luke's like got the spaceship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like
that's his G16, Jerry.
You're like, what the hell is going on? I see that. I'm like, shouldn't we be looking at space nudes?
Right.
Well, it's funny too because the spaceship toy he's playing with is like the full size ones in the garage behind him.
Yeah,
which I hadn't really
it's like you're playing with your mom's Honda or something.
Yeah.
Whoa, the hatchback just opened. Bang, all the groceries.
I'm just reading that. You're like, opening scene. We see Luke playing Rum-Rum cars with. That's just it's just a really weird thing to have him do.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. Oh, he's wistful. He's thinking about space and adventure. You can see it. Just look at him.
But another weird thing to have somebody do when Threepio comes up out of the oil bath, there's just like oil or water just dripping off of him. Mm-hmm. And is C-3PO waterproof? Like, could he go swimming?
Sure.
That's a good question.
It doesn't seem like he should, but I guess
no, it doesn't seem like he should, but it seems like he does because it's liquids pouring off of him when he stands up.
Well, I guess submerging yourself in oil might be different than if you're a machine than doing it in water or something.
If you okay, so take R2 when they land in Dagobah, he's underwater.
Yeah,
and he's like R2 that way, and you're like, so I guess if he's
seems kind of
waterproof, I guess C-3PO would be too.
Not necessarily. I don't know. I can picture 3PO just floating around and stuff maybe and being okay.
Or R2's kind of like one of those what are those handyman tools?
Yeah.
That you have, not like a Swiss Army knife, but something,
but it's got like a Phillips head and a flat head, and it's got
pliers,
and the adapter, and
right. So you'd have to have him be waterproof. That would make sense.
Yeah,
3PO is a protocol droid. I don't know.
Although he couldn't really, you couldn't take him out in the rain though if he wasn't. I guess
that's true. And if he speaks 6 million languages, you would think that one of those has to be like an underwater creature language.
Yeah. Aquaman language.
Right.
Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah. And you figure they're both like space worthy, they could probably like survive in space. So maybe they could survive underwater too. I don't know. I like 3PO is crafty in this scene and I like it. And it's weird.
Yeah, it's really strange. I can't put it together exactly.
He says, Luke gets all excited. He says like, oh, not with the rebellion and all. And Luke freaks out. He's like, oh, you know about the rebellion against the Empire? And he's like, oh yeah, sorta. And he's like, oh, I think we've been in a few battles. And R2's like, And then 3PO's like, I think.
Is that what happened? And then he's like, there's not much to tell. I wondered. So is R2 pissed at 3PO because he's blabbing?
I thought that too. I thought
a little bit. I think so.
When Luke says, you know about the rebellion against the Empire, R2 goes, or he makes it sound like, shut up.
Ixnay on the rebellion, Ray. Shut up. And then when they see Leia, 3PO is totally like on board. He's like, oh, I think maybe I recognize her. I don't know. Yeah, I don't really know. Like, but he absolutely knows who it is. But he's kind of like, it might be important. I don't know.
But you know what? But then she's like, but she's, she says that like she's a person of great importance.
Yeah. But he's vague about it. He's like, is that the queen? Is that or it's like
he knows
mayor?
Who that is, right?
He does. I know. I'm saying I think he's covering up. I think he's
okay.
He forgot himself for a second. Like, lots of battles. Sit down. I'll tell you all about it.
But then it's really weird because then afterwards, they're like, he's like, maybe if you take off my restraining bolt, it short circuited the memory, and so Luke does, and Leia goes boo. And he goes, wait a minute, bring her back. And, he's like, bring what back? And then he's now yelling at R2. So is he faking that?
I think he's
Then
he's
Luke leaves and says, "See what you can do with them," and he's like, "Just you reconsider playing that message back for Master Luke." And you're like, why is he now upgrading them?
Torn between, like, he doesn't want to give up. He could still play dumb and not recognize the princess, but he's offended and weirded out that R2 is not obeying their new master. They just got to this nice place. Threepio hasn't even built his rocking chair yet. He just wants to stay here, have a nice time, and Archie's going to screw it up for them by not obeying and being a good droid. He just wants him to be a good droid and trust Luke and just relax and be cool.
Well, and there's also there's a scene coming up that they took out that was in the script that really lays into the 3PO being that kind of sleazy car wheeler dealer guy. And I think that might still be in play here a little bit.
Okay. I love that exchange between them, though. Like, that's one of my favorite exchanges in the entire series. When he's like, "Just you can reconsider playing that message for me." He's like, and R2's like, "Do you think he likes me?" He's like, "No, I don't think he likes you at all." He's like, "Do you like me?" It's like, "No, I don't like you either." I've always loved that.
Is he making a sex joke when he says, "This is how we came to be in your service"? If you take my meaning, sir.
If you know where droids come from. I actually don't know what he means by that.
I don't know.
I have no idea. Weird.
It sounds like
that's amazing,
though.
Does like the Leia beam transmission push Luke away? Like when it goes and it like split and like Luke jumps back, but he does it almost. It's almost like the beam pushes him on his ass.
Or he's shocked or something, like physically, like he got a jolt or something.
Maybe. She's beautiful.
Yeah, could we just, I know we're not trying to jump timelines or whatever, or movies or anything, but I mean, is there any universe in which George Lucas sat down and wrote this scene? He's like, "Oh, it's actually his sister. We don't know that yet, but he's ogling his sister."
No.
This is the boy who's going to go on an adventure. He's going to save the princess. He's in love with her at first sight. He sets him on his quest. There's no way that's his sister.
No, there's no way that's his sister.
No.
I had a question here. So Leia is in all white robed with a scarf. And the one thing that's really noticeable, she keeps kind of bending down a little bit, like she's putting some data into the wall or something.
That's her putting the thing into R2.
That's what I figured.
Yeah.
So what's interesting is she has that scarf. And you're like, so when did she record that?
No, it's just her hood. That's like her. She's got that hood, and it's very drapey and stuff and loose.
So did she record that like right before R2 gets in the escape?
Yeah, that's what we're seeing. No, when 3PO's like, R2D2, where are you? And he sees them there, and she looks around and puts the thing in her. That's what we're seeing right now.
Yeah.
So she just recorded that and stuck it in R2.
Just a last second thing.
And how does this work? Is that entire escape pod room like one giant round camera? Like how do they get the 360 degree? It's like the Matrix.
Yeah, it's like it doesn't make any sense at all, but I think it's really cool.
I think it's cool.
Like
too.
I don't want it to make sense. I just like that it's weird and you see it from different angles. They took the time to like show this from different angles, so you ask questions like that. You're like, well, that looks neat, but what? Like right now, I'm looking. It's behind her and that's in front of her and stuff. Yeah, like how did R2 film this? Is that the idea?
Yeah. And I never noticed, again, there's this catwalk behind Luke that leads into the house. And again, I'm thinking, is Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru, are they rich?
That's interesting. I was looking, it's coming up a little bit later in the morning, but when you look at their dwelling, they have, it's like there's holes that appear to be like, quote, the second floor.
Mm-hmm.
But there isn't a ladder to get up there. It's almost like you can only get in there from the inside. And so I wonder, architecturally, is that just so natural light pours in?
Oh, maybe. Yeah,
it's kind of it's like everything. It's like a bunch of caves.
Yeah,
but to get up, you have to go in.
It's very Dr. Seuss.
It is,
or teleport,
or speed up the harvest. Tommy, you'll know this. You'll know exactly what this means.
I hope I know this.
Our last master was kept in Antilles.
No.
Who is that?
Was Captain Antilles.
Oh, that's what it is?
Yeah.
It's our last master was Captain Antilles?
Yeah. Which I think supposedly is the guy who Vader chokes on the Tanta V4.
No way. I thought he says was kept in Antilles.
You know what? I think I always thought that too until I don't know, the
Captain
90s
Antilles.
or something. Yeah.
Huh.
Which apparently is no relation to Wedge Antilles. We got a Wedge Antilles later on.
It's like the Smith of the Star Wars.
I guess so, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, the Southampton Antilles?
So he's being so he's just being truthful. He's like, no, our last master. So what's interesting, he says our last master. Does he know that guy's dead?
I don't know.
Oh,
no,
yeah,
he thought the
that's a
damage
good
looked fine from out there. So he's like, there's
At what
refueling
point
or
did he
something.
cut his ties? Like this
Yeah,
whole
why isn't he like,
master
oh, you need
thing
to
is,
return me to my
yeah,
little
you
guy.
need to return me. Or now we have like, Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's going for this other master, but he's including R2, our last master.
Yeah.
It's weird that R2 thinks of himself as belonging to Obi-Wan just because he's looking for him. Like,
Yeah.
went to look for him.
Right.
That's weird.
What is Obi-Wan short for O Benjamin Wan?
Oh my gosh.
Like, how did he get Ben?
I don't know. That's a good. It's actually B is his middle initial. His name's actually Benjamin.
It's like Owen Benjamin Wan.
Oswald Benjamin Wan Kenobi.
Oh my gosh.
I remember reading like Fantastic Magazine or something, like before Return of the Jedi came out, and like, oh, like they mentioned the Clone Wars, but they never talked anything more about it. I think we're going to find out that it's actually OB-1 Kenobi, and he's like some weird clone robot man.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, shut up.
So Ben lives beyond the Dune Sea. Is that an oxymoron?
No.
Can you have a sea of
it's
dunes?
evocative. It's poetic and interesting. Well,
The
you look out at
Dune
the desert, and it's like rolling like waves on the ocean, on the sea.
I think it's both. I like it. It's kind of a paradoxical beauty.
Yeah,
It is, yeah.
I like it. Don't question these things, Jerry. Did you know that blue milk is actually kind of gray?
No.
Everyone talks about blue milk, but this
Yeah.
milk is kind of gray.
It is kind of gray. I
I'm
have
not
to say
complaining,
though,
but it threw me.
like seeing that Tupperware and the
Mhm.
milk and like a hot outdoor living space. This is exactly living in Phoenix as a little kid in the 70s.
Oh my god.
Awesome.
Did you throughout this entire scene, this one with the blue milk and the previous scene, there is a background bubbling hum.
Yeah.
Like throughout though. It's this thing.
Yeah.
Can you do it, Tommy? Do it.
I'm not gonna do it.
Do it.
Wait, let me turn the sound on so I can remind myself.
Oh no, you don't need the sound. It's like
No.
It goes, but then every once in a while it gets a little higher pitched one. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, is that the moisture evaporators?
I thought it was like
I
the
don't know.
bok choy cooker she was using.
I
It's
know.
like the
I see. That's
Instapot.
it. I always did
Yeah.
too. But it's also in this scene here,
Mm.
this nighttime scene or whatever.
Well, she might be making a thing for lunch tomorrow. She's got to let it
Yeah.
like steam overnight or something. I don't know.
It sounds kind of like the Jetsons car,
It does.
It does.
but it's also like one of the most comforting sounds to me. Like I hear
It
that,
is.
it's just like, oh, I just want to curl up and
Oh my gosh! I wonder if you could find that online. Just a loop
like
of
10
that.
hours. Yeah.
Yeah. And just go to sleep to it.
Moisture evaporators.
Yeah, or whatever that is. Just Aunt Beru's kitchen.
Well, what about that amazing artwork on the ceiling? Like I'd never noticed that before.
I mean, you know what?
That's
It
really
looks
cool.
exactly like the Lascaux Caves.
It does.
Yeah, it
It
does.
actually does. I see
Yeah.
a buffalo and a
Yeah.
gotcha spear. Yeah.
I'm assuming this is actually real art. This is like someone's house in Tunisia, right? Like this is
Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, I don't think they have moisture evaporators, but it's like this sort of pit with like these rooms off it and stuff. And I think that stuff was there.
So, Pete, I think you mentioned this. Is Uncle Owen successful?
I think he is. I think we're going to learn in the next scene, though, that, I think a lot gets called into question about both Uncle Owen and Luke. But I think
Intriguing.
to me they seem rich. They seem they may not think they're rich, but they seem like they're pretty well off.
Well, if you have enough robots, or droids for the harvest so that you can send your kid away to the academy, I mean, you have to have some kind of loot.
Yeah.
Right.
And they can buy like spaceships, and they can buy, like land speeders. And,
yeah. They have more than one speeder. They got more than one droid.
They've got that T-16.
Yeah. Like, is he like he's clearly concerned about the harvest? Like, oh no, what if this kid leaves and I don't have enough help to, harvest moisture or whatever? Like, so, but he's either, oh my gosh, we're barely getting by. You got to help me with the harvest or we're going to go under. Or he's like, like my dad was sort of like this, like, you just, Dad, we're fine. You don't have to worry. Like, just, the bills are what they are. You can pay them. It's all right. You don't have to complain as you're paying the cable bill and stuff. Yeah. It's all right.
But you don't have to complain while you're paying the cable bill.
Yeah. You got it covered. It's all right. Like, if you spill a little water from the harvest because I'm not there to help you, you're going to be fine. Look, we live in a beautiful
they make it sound like
Adobe
there's a season. So is there a season for collecting and harvesting moisture?
That's
sounds
a really
like
good
it.
question.
Yeah.
Maybe they have like a really weird dry winter or something, or
like California.
Well, I would imagine it would have to be. Well, so are they selling, like, by moisture? I'm assuming it's water, but it isn't. It could be anything.
Huh? Melted
Right?
popsicles.
Yeah.
So, but you wonder. It's like, so they have a harvest. So do they sell water or moisture?
They might. That was always, like, without thinking about it at all, that was always my assumption, that they somehow collected water out of the air, like this precious. It's like Dune or something. This precious, life-giving water that's hard to come by, and they use it for themselves and they sell it off to people.
How do you think they transport it and stuff?
Thermos. Put in a big thermos.
Yeah, I have no idea. So does everybody? You wonder, like, does everybody have a big celebration and they collect at the end of the harvest and they get all the water in the tank and that lasts them the next, I don't know, 3 seasons? How many seasons are there? I mean, are there
how
7
long is the season? Like, is Luke like complaining? Like, could the season be like 8 days? And I got to stay another 8 days. Come on.
I couldn't figure that out. I have no idea what he's like. But that's a whole nother year. It's only one more season. So it made me think. Okay, so if a whole nother year equals one more season, then the damn year is a season.
No,
you
I
have
think
a year of one season.
I think there's like one time of the year when you can. It's like if you miss like kindergarten, the beginning of kindergarten, you have to wait another year before you start school or something. Like, I think he can transmit his application like now, like registration days in a week or something.
So what is so bad?
If he misses that, he has to wait a year.
With 2 sons, though, you could get some really strange like astromechanics. Like, you could have, I'm assuming, like a year that's 10 days long, or you could have a season that's
maybe
6 years long.
No, I'm going to stick on this. So 1 year is a season. They just have one season. And it's a year long.
It's hot. Yeah.
Because he says, and I understand, you have a good point, Tom. He's like, that's a whole nother year. And he goes, it's only one more season. And you're like, so Uncle Owen is totally hoeing him. He's just being jive.
You know what he's saying? He's like, you can, no. As soon as we're done, you can transmit as soon as the season is over, the harvest is done, you can transmit your application to the academy. But Luke's like, yeah, but I can't if I don't do it in a week. It's like, no, go ahead and do it. No, I can't, Uncle Owen. I got to wait another year.
Right.
Screwed me.
But Uncle Owen, what's really interesting is, does Uncle Owen know what he's doing? Like, does he really mean, he goes,
I was wondering that too.
I'll make it up to him next year. I promise.
They have that, he and Baru have that little moment after Luke leaves, and she's like, you can't keep him here forever, he's got too much of his father, and he says, that's what I'm afraid of. So you kind of know that he, even just with this movie, you kind of know that he's trying to keep him, like, even if Luke's dad is just a guy who was an awesome Jedi and he had adventures and stuff and he got killed by a guy named Darth Vader and everything, you can see that Uncle Owen is trying to protect Luke from all that or something.
I'm not sure though, because Uncle Owen brings up Luke's dad, and then he says, "I told you to forget it."
Yeah, but that's like that's almost like you know, like the rebellion.
He brings him up, yeah.
Yeah,
like,
he does, but it's
his
like
dad up and then tell him to forget it.
But all he says is like, "Oh, he died about the same time as your father." And Luke's like, "He knew my father," and he's like, "I didn't say you knew your father. Stop talking. Just forget it." You're right. He brings him up and then slaps him down.
It's really, really weird. It's kind of like, Dad, I saw this girl at the park the other day. I told you to forget it. It's like the one thing that the guy, he knew my father. I told you to forget it. It's like, well, what do you think he's going to obsess about?
But the way Luke reacts, you almost get the sense that like Owen could have said something that sounded a little bit like dad or father or something, or like, you know.
Owen says something else though. It's interesting. He says, it changes the script, because the script says, Owen says, "That old man's just a crazy old wizard."
I always wonder about that.
It says that wizard's just a crazy old man. And that's weird, because that makes wizards just a normal, ordinary thing in life. Like, oh, I'm going to go to the post office. I'm going to go see the wizard. I'm going to go.
He's not a nice wizard like the one at the farmer's market. He's one of those crazy ones.
But it's just like it's weird, because it sort of affirms that wizards are just a normal part of life in the Star Wars universe.
That's amazing. I've always thought that line was weird. That wizard's just a crazy old man.
And it's the opposite of the script. So I wonder if he just read it wrong, or if they wanted it like
maybe.
that.
See, what I wondered, is that the first time that Owen and Beru, since they've adopted Luke, is that the first time they've heard the name Obi-Wan? And they do that, like, are they like, oh no?
Yeah, they
like,
or
there it
Owen
is.
just does he bring it up like every day? Like, this reminds me of your dad. What? I told you to forget it.
Well,
I had a dad once. You know my dad? Please, Luke. Oh my God.
That's what I want. In like the 17 years, is that the first? He's like, said he belongs to some Obi-Wan. You know what he's talking about? And like Beru looks at Owen, they're like, oh, is that the very first time that they're like, this is the beginning of the end? Like it's over.
Maybe.
Like did they really know? This droid shows up that says he belongs to Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
And they're just like, oh no. Like,
great.
This is
the galaxy's catching up to us.
The meteor they've been trying to, avoid for 17 years or whatever it's been, 10 years,
Yeah.
And Owen protests too much. I was wondering, does he have the Force? Like, did he premonition this? Yeah.
Yeah, or I was almost wondering, is Owen kind of goading Luke? Like, is it possible that Owen is trying to get Luke to embrace his destiny? Like, that's why he keeps bringing up his dad. It's almost like he's taunting him. But like, is it possible that Owen's using reverse psychology?
Oh, weird.
Probably
I'm trying to
not.
think
I
how
don't
that
think
works.
He
so.
kind of just seems like a jerk, but
Yeah, he does kind of just seem like my favorite. One of my
cranky old
favorite
jerk.
bits of acting in all of Star Wars is he goes, "Do you know what he's talking about?" And he's like, Owen's kind of chewing, and he goes, "Mm."
No, leave me alone. That is awesome.
It's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're like, that's great acting.
Yeah.
I wonder what would happen if the Empire never followed the droids. Like, would everyone live happily ever after in anonymity?
Yeah.
Not really, because they kind of take the droids to the Death Star. Like, they're trying to return it later to. I mean, we'll get there, but I kind of I like the Empire looking for the droids. Actually,
that's true, because he
cause
Luke
any
still would've
trouble.
Wound up with Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Well, but he says he wants you to go to Anchorhead and have that droid's memory erased. What if that happened?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Then maybe.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, then that's it.
It's a hold
If
your fire
R2
moment.
doesn't run away, and if R2 doesn't get his restraining bolt removed,
Yeah. Yeah.
he gets his memory erased, and would be even like, well, both of them would get their memories erased, and then Luke would just be on for another harvest.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, do you think R2 is left already? Like his restraining bolt is off. Do you think he left while Luke's eating dinner?
Yeah, I think he left
actually.
immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I almost want to see the famous, twin sons moment. You want to see R2 way off in the distance. Like a little plume of dust going up behind him.
Is that twin sons moment? To me, that's the most gorgeous moment and maybe most iconic moment in all of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you see that and you're like, I don't care what anybody says. Star Wars is the best movie that's ever been made.
Yeah.
That's a movie. It's
Yeah.
it's a moment of cinema, and it's awesome.
And I love that it
it's
starts
incredible.
with Luke being so angry he kicks the ground. Have you ever kicked the ground? You've gotten so mad you kicked the ground?
I've punched a stop sign. I don't think I've kicked the
Yeah,
ground, though.
I've kicked a lot of. The other day, I kicked a door.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did. I kicked. It was the last straw. It was. Like
And the door hadn't even wronged you, had it?
No, I was like FedEx was supposed to. They lost a package of mine in
Oh.
New Jersey, and
Oh,
it was
God.
$381, and I had to like. They just kept like kicking the the buck
Yeah.
down the road. It's like, no, you need to file a claim. I did file a claim. They're like, no, you need to refile a claim for another claim. We didn't get that claim. You got to refile the claim on the claim. Because exactly, like, I felt like R5D4. My head
Yeah.
just pops.
This is really like a fairy tale, though.
Yeah.
You've got like this kid, and there's this nice slow moment where you're like, oh, he's never going to get to leave home.
Mhm.
You know what's interesting?
This is where he sings a song.
It would be. It totally would be.
You know what's great, though, is it's him alone and incredible sweeping cinematic music.
Mhm.
And it's fantastic. You usually see that type of music like in a romantic scene or something like that.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
this is just him alone, completely by himself, looking at the suns. And
Yeah.
and I mean, what it comes from is he goes, looks like I'm going nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I'm
then he
stuck.
goes outside. Yeah, it's not even. I mean, it's got this wistful, far away thing, but it's also very. He's really stuck.
Yeah.
This moment reminds me so much of American Graffiti.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
That's big for him, for old
Yeah.
Lucas.
Yeah.
Yeah, just trying to get even THX 1138 has that. Like just
Really just
trying
being
to
stuck.
get out of this deadbeat
Yeah.
weird place. Yeah.
And that was a big thing for George Lucas himself. Like when he went to go to, USC or UCLA or it was for film school. Like his
Yeah.
dad wanted him to stay and go into the business, the family business. And it was,
Yeah, it was the harvest.
yeah.
Does
Probably had that exact conversation.
Do you think that Owen and Beru, like, do you think, like, if Luke trips and falls coming out of the shower and hits his head, like, is Beru like he has too much of his mother in him? Is there ever a sign where he ever has too much of his mother in him?
Yeah, I mean, like true to like fairy tale logic, like the mother doesn't even matter. Like it's just
Yeah.
the dad. He's
It's
like
just the
searching
dad.
for his dad.
I didn't. You know what? When I saw that he has too much of his father in him, I'm afraid. He's like, that's what I'm afraid of. And I thought, and no one answer because I know the answer is going to suck. But I've totally forgotten who Luke Skywalker's mother is.
Oh, really? Okay.
Is it? Is it Padme?
You don't want us to answer?
Yeah, no, don't answer. Don't
go
answer.
there.
I
It's just
couldn't
gonna
even.
bring
But
pain
for a
to
moment, I
everybody.
just forgot. I was like,
You
oh,
should. You don't
yeah.
know that. It's
I had kind of
1977.
forgotten
You don't know
too,
this
but
stuff.
now I have no longer forgotten. And see, now I'm angry.
No. Stop hurting Pete.
I ruined the sunset.
You really have.